All right, I'd like to invite our panelists up here. Mitch, Jeremy, Ty, Mike, Dustin. Hopefully everyone's here.
Mike, you moving in?
Dustin Cole. No, he's here. I talked to him this morning. He's here. He's just using the restroom. He'll be here momentarily. Well, while we're waiting for Dustin, you know, at NCI, I guess you often hear people in this industry talk about the boxes that you buy from the manufacturer as, you know, you're buying a system. We like to differentiate that and say, well, that's the equipment, and the system is the thing that you, as the contractor, are, you know, designing or renovating, and it's a custom product that you're putting in. So taking a step back further from that, really, that thing that you're putting in is part of a bigger system, and that's the whole house and how that is interacting with the world around it. And this group of guys are people that have really understood that and integrated it into either their contracting business or their teaching, you know, and really made people realize that, yeah, there's the equipment, there's the system that you put in, and then there's the whole house and how that house interacts with the world around it. So this panel is on whole home thinking, really how you unite HVAC and building science. And I think you guys can take a seat. Get comfy, get comfy. And then I'll just have each of you introduce yourselves, and then we'll get going.
Guess I'm first. I got the mic here. Hey, everyone.
You got to turn the power on.
There we go. There we go. Hey, everyone. My name is Jeremy Begley. I'm with HVAC to Home Performance. I got into this industry through the home performance pathway, and I learned about the building first, and then I learned that the HVAC system is the redheaded stepchild of home performance and green building, and that there was a heck of a lot more to learn about it. So I leaned into the HVAC side, and I really began to understand that it's just all one big thing, and we're really just trying to control stuff. And if we don't have the house controlled, then we can't ever expect our mechanical systems to control the things the way they're supposed to.
Mitch Bailey, Bailey's Air Heroes. Been 49 years in the business. I learned this through osmosis. I didn't go to school for it. The great thing about this business, the great thing about the home performance is we can change what the customer feels. And those guys that just concentrate on ducts, and those guys that just concentrate on the equipment, and those guys that just concentrate on the house, they're missing everything. We have to take care of the whole home.
All right. Dustin Cole area, Lake Charles, Louisiana. We deliver comfort. We don't fix air conditioners. And part of comfort, or part of being able to deliver that comfort, is to understand whenever it's not achieved. And so, whole house thinking, looking at the thermal layers, the air control layers, all of it. It doesn't begin and end with the air conditioner. That's all I got.
Ty Branaman with the Grit Foundation, and I just love HVAC. I love learning about it, and the more that I learn, the more that I want to learn, and then the more that I learn, the more I want to share with other people. And it's a trade that when everything was taken from me, that you couldn't take away these skills to start over. And I loved being able to do something a little bit better than I did yesterday. And my dad said, whatever you're doing, do it the best you possibly can. And I just keep finding new and better ways of doing it. And so I love being here because it's not like a real conference. It's like I'm with my friends, people I learn from. Like this guy here, I call him all the time with questions, and he's able to break it down in ways that I can understand, and then I can then share that with other people. And just really appreciate everybody sharing your knowledge here.
Mike Cianfrocco with Detective Air. Originally, I was doing HVAC for a long time and had a lot of questions, and just started digging deep. Now I'm a home performance guy. I just had a lot of questions. Why? Why can't this AC cool this house? Why is it uncomfortable in this home? And basically dug deep, got with a lot of these people, and those questions, they got fulfilled in a long rabbit hole of home performance building science. So I appreciate being up here with these esteemed gentlemen.
All right, well, I thank all you guys for being up here. To start off, I'll ask a question that I kind of want to hear from all you guys on. So I just want to know if you can share either just one metric or a story that kind of illustrates, the value or the return on investing in whole building diagnostics or this whole home thinking idea that we're talking about, rather than just focusing on fixing the HVAC.
One, two, three, go.
Yeah. No.
No, no, no. La, 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 la.
Now we're on. Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing. We're doing a webinar later in October. It's called, What is Your HVAC Superpower and Why You Might Not Have It Yet. I was walking around this place asking people, what is your HVAC superpower? Because I wanted to have a nice montage of that to put on the webinar. Most of the people in this room said something to do with the people that they take care of. That was their superpower. Like, I don't know, I don't remember all of them, but most of them had to do with the way they take care of the people, the way they affect the homeowners, the way that they're able to sharpen their skills and keep coming back and help these people. So that is really what home performance is all about for me. I've been in it a pretty long time now, and the most fulfilling experiences that I've ever had are when people say that we change their life in some dynamic way. And that is a result of understanding their building and understanding how they want to live in their building and being able to fix that to the maximum capacity. I've had people call me up and say, before you guys did what you did to my house, we had allergies that we could not get rid of. And literally, one of our clients were allergists. They were doctors, and they had kids who had severe allergies. And they had to go to the doctor every month and get shots, and the kids hated it. They said they cried, they didn't want to go, they hated the shots. And they're like, we're doctors and we can't solve this. He's like, I was watching something on television about how your house can make you sick, and it got me thinking, and I looked and I looked and I looked, and I found you guys. And we went into the home and we did blower door testing, we did duct leakage testing, and it's the usual suspects, but when you're dragging allergens and pollens and things in from the places in the house where you shouldn't be accessing air and bringing that air back into your house, it can cause these problems. And so we were able to seal up the attic, seal up the ductwork, put the right type of filtration in there, put the right type of dehumidification in there. We changed the entire way these people lived in their home. And she said, since you've been here, we haven't been back to the doctor once. You completely solved a problem that we for the past 2 years have been trying to solve, because they moved from another state and moved into this house, and it's a nice big house in a nice big neighborhood, and they said, we would have never, ever, ever thought that our house, is this nice house that we live in, is causing this problem. So those are the type of things that I think speak volumes to the value of home performance and just understanding every single thing that's going on in the home, because then you find out the best way that you can help the people that you're trying to help.
Well said. That's it in a nutshell right there.
Yeah.
For me, if I was to go one metric, it'd be load calculations and room by room. I love going into a house. I see all the windows blacked out in a room, a floor fan sitting there, and I ask the customer, I says, this room have trouble cooling? Yeah, how'd you know? And then when I do the room, and I combine that with my duct testing, when I go in and do the airflow, yeah, it's obvious that there's a problem. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's just shutting the door. Maybe put in a little crossover duct, we're good to go. Sometimes it's a little more difficult, we have to balance the system. Sometimes it's more difficult than that, we have to run a whole new duct over there. So if I was to say one thing that gives me the information in order to come into your home and do it, and load calculations is more than just giving you a number, because I do a blower door with them and I plug that in, so I know how much the house is leaking, and I look at the actual, what metrics we need to take care of in the house to make sure that we take care of as many problems as we can. Because people don't have unlimited budgets. I'd love to go in there and just redo everything, but sometimes we can't do that. And load count kind of points to the most return on your money, because I do what ifs with them.
That's a great point, Mitch. Yeah, I think oftentimes load calculations are, thought of as something that you do for new construction when you're designing a house. Or,
Right, it's the size of the equipment, that's
Yeah.
what we need.
Yep, yeah, but what you're doing is way more than that. You're saying, oh, this house is actually here, so all those assumptions or design decisions are sitting right in front of me, and I can measure them, and then put them in.
There's a plethora of work out there for you guys, because when I did new construction for decades, thousands of homes, probably done about 20,000 homes over the years. And in those homes, we designed for worst case scenario, and that's what the duct system was done to. So if all the windows were on the face the west, then that was the worst case. But you had a room that faced north in that orientation. Once that building got rotated, that room suddenly needed more air. And yes, we didn't put dampers in the system. Nobody does in the new construction end of it. So I go in homes all the time that had an 8-inch duct going to it, and it's got 3 outside walls, and now it's facing west, and suddenly that room needs a 10-inch duct, and the airflow's doubled on it. That is why you have to do the room by rooms, and you have to measure in, because if you don't know when you start, you don't know what you need to fix, and that's what the measurement does for me. That's what the load count.
Dustin, how does thinking about the whole home impact you? And
Well, so I don't think there's one metric, because I look at it more as a domino effect. And so, one thing just evolves into another, and then you have a cause and effect. With that being said, like Jeremy, one of the largest takeaways I've had from a customer is, a family of 4, they buy a big old house, it's gonna be their forever home, they move into it, they're constantly sick, no answers, on and off for quite a while, move out of the house because everybody's getting sick, they call you in, you go in, you solve a problem that you could have done 2 or 3 years prior. The people move back into the home, their cost of ownership goes down because their energy, they're no longer bleeding it out. Their health just skyrockets. And they're in the place that they wanted to call home forever.
Yeah.
And so, and it didn't take anything more than paying attention to what you see and what you hear. That's all it really took. Yeah, there's a bunch of fancy tools out there, but it was just paying attention and calling a spade. That's a problem, let's fix it. And but seeing that change, and then you run into these people in your small towns or big towns, wherever you live, and they're going to bump into you and just tell you they're like just everything that's changed in their life. There's nothing more rewarding than that. Except for sitting next to Ty.
Well, one of the early companies I worked for had a TEC blower door, and they were saying, yeah, we can run this machine and see how big the hole is in your house. I was like, that's amazing. How do you do that? I said, well, you need to learn stuff before you get here. And I didn't realize how far ahead of time that company was, because it wasn't until years later before I see people talking about it and doing it now. But that was so fascinating to me all the way back then. And now I have a TEC blower door, and I have fun testing like all kinds of stuff. It's just nerding out. For me, home performance side, when it really hit how I could make money with it, was I discovered a psychometric chart and how air worked, and it was amazing. Before, it was a scary, scary thing, and then I learned how the chart worked, and I learned how to use it to calculate capacity of equipment. It was just fun, right? It was just a fun thing to do. But then I had another company, and they had a customer. They could not solve the customer's problem. They did everything, and they had humidity problems like crazy. Customer's mad. The company was mad. Everybody was frustrated. And so I went in with all this new little formula tools I did. I was like, well, I'm just going to see what the equipment's doing. And the equipment was running amazing, and it was dehumidifying like crazy. I was able to calculate it, measure it, and I did all my numbers, and I put it in a psychometric chart. And I was like, man, this system's working great. Like, it's not the system. The ductwork looks good. Well, I didn't have all the cool stuff at that time. This was like '04. And I was able to use a psychometric chart and see what the system was doing, and found out we had a massive amount of moisture in the house coming in from somewhere. And it was pretty dry outside. And I did the psychometric numbers, like, man, we have a problem. And I found out that ended up being they had a leak under the house. Crawled under the house, found a leak, and all the water was coming through the floor into the house. So for me, it started with the equipment, proving that the equipment was working right. And then I unlocked this, and I was the hero. The company was super excited. The customer was super excited. I was like, man, the customer's happy. These other people are happy, and I got to use these cool stuff I learned, and that just empowered me to keep doing more and learning more. And now I'm here, still learning every single day.
So would you say you're an air hero?
Air nerd.
I don't know if you guys got that. Mitch said, so would you say you're an air hero? His company's Air Heroes.
For the right price.
What was the question?
Just if you want to share either, a single metric or just a story about why thinking about the building, the whole home is important to you.
Yeah, now that I know what I know, I don't know if I can go back to just doing regular HVAC. It's trying to find an analogy of what we do is the best I could describe it is like commercial, right? So you got a walk-in box, you've got produce, and there's an industry of guys that just don't care that there's a window open all day. You're trying to keep a box at a certain temperature, right, at a certain relative humidity. And you got some homes that are just wide open, and they're oversized. Normally what I find is the AC's oversized egregiously, and the airflow is just not set right. But we have all the tools now. It's just absolutely amazing to be in HVAC right now. We've got so many tools that can find the answers, within a couple of hours, duct leakage, home air leakage. You've got True Flow Grid, just gives you a full report, static, like everything. It's an amazing time. And when you put all that together, you put it inside of a manual J. I mean, like you said, you look like a hero, but we all should be doing this. I mean, basically, I find it crazy, like, I go back to the walk-in box. Like, you don't care that somebody leaves the door open to the produce box all day, and you don't care, like, let's throw the biggest refrigeration system on that small walk-in box. Like, nobody cares. I just think the industry needs to know more, So that's my take on it.
Awesome. So something I personally have been curious about, it makes all the sense in the world that the HVAC guy needs to be thinking about the home as a system and understanding it as a system. But as the HVAC guy, we're not necessarily going to start replacing windows and stuff. So how do you make the decision of whether to bring a service in-house, like maybe add an insulation, or whether you're going to refer that out? And then how do you handle that in your business and make it beneficial to you? You charge for the testing, you have a referral deal. How does that work? And you guys all don't have to answer that if you don't want, or if
I
you
think
don't have a comment, but
everybody's different, It depends on you as a company and what services you offer. Like, 'cause I know some guys that do insulation, but for me, it's getting to know the client, getting to know that, what their budget is. And if somebody calls, says they have certain issues, I do like to offer everything I have to offer at one spot. And if they say they can't go for all the services at once, then we go a la carte. So, but I talk to so many guys on the grapevine, and everybody does it so differently. That's which makes it really cool. So
for my company, what we did is we developed some relationships. We don't do windows. So we developed a relationship with a couple of window companies in the area, because windows is a big factor in a lot of these homes, especially in the West. It's the loads. Well, it depends, but anyhow, when I do that, when I make a relationship, sometimes I take over that relationship. We had a relationship with an insulator, and then we found that the profit margins on insulation was pretty decent, so we decided to start doing that ourselves. The guys really actually jumped into it too, because I was letting my techs take my high-tech selling tool with them, and they would go into a house, go in an attic, and they'd stick that insulation stake into the insulation, snap a picture of it, come down and says, here's your insulation, this is code. And they would sell it. It was an easy sell. Customers, and then we'd drop the ducts down, we'd cover them up, and they'd get all kinds of benefits. Less heat gain through the ductwork, house is warmer in the winter, cooler in the summer, unit doesn't run as much, and saves on wear and tear. But we built those relationships with other trades so that we can take care of it. It's like we don't do plumbing, but we do water heaters. So if I have a customer that has plumbing problems, they'll call me and say, hey, you did my water heater, but I've got a sink or a toilet or something. And I say, no, we don't do that, but I have a relationship with this guy. You call him and he'll take care of it for you. So we develop those relationships, and that works best for us.
So my take on that is be great at what you do, and if you've mastered that and you have the capacity to add on services and be great at that as well, then by all means do so. If not, develop relationships. Swiss Army knives are great, but they're not the greatest. So, be good at what you do, and if you're capable and your companies can sustain it, then expand, but don't overreach yourself. Instead, partner with people and offer their services with your services. Whether or not you want to subcontract that all out and, put it together like that, or just put them in contact with others. I can tell you that you're going to have a higher success rate by combining services. That way you don't just go into someone's house and offer to fix an HVAC and tell them to figure out the rest. But just be really good at what you do before you try and take on a bigger bite, and only do it if you're confident in it. And don't just go add insulation to a house. You can really screw that up.
I want to say this. Guys, stop getting blamed for shit that's not your fault.
It's true.
It's as simple as that. Like, you don't have to be selling insulation. You don't have to be putting in windows. You don't have to do any of that stuff if you don't want to. Home performance is a hell of a lot simpler than that. It's just like, stop getting blamed for shit that's not your fault, because there's a ton of stuff that happens in the house that affects the system that has nothing to do with the operation of the system, but it does affect the end product that the consumer and your clients are getting. And if you don't know that and understand how to stop that from happening, you're always going to have problems that you can never solve. So I have a little bit of an issue with this line in the sand that everybody seems to want to draw, where you're either doing all this stuff or you're doing none of it. It doesn't have to be that serious. Like, you just have to understand what is going on in the home so that you can help the people in the home the way that they deserve to be helped. After that, it's up to you to figure out if you want to say, hey, go call your insulation guy, go call your window guy, whatever it's going to be. I know guys who, the owners of the shop hate Home Performance. They don't believe in it at all. But the techs understand that when they're out in the field, Home Performance helps them do their job better. So you know what they do? They educate the customer instead of trying to sell them something. They say, hey, this system can't do what you want it to do without fixing this problem first, and we don't want to put our name on something that's never going to work right if you don't do the thing that's going to make it work right. And then the homeowners go out and they take care of that on their own. They call their insulation contractor, they call somebody to come in and fix that problem, and then the guy that's selling the system can feel great about what he's selling, and the owner of the company doesn't have to get mad that they're doing Home Performance. So there's always a way to do it, but it all just starts with understanding what you're looking at and understanding the best way to help the people.
One other thing, that when you develop those relationships with, they come back to you too, because if I refer the window guy, he refers me a lot of times too. So it comes back. It's a two-way street, and it works for both of us. We get business from them and we give business to them, so it works both ways.
Yeah, that's awesome. If anybody in the audience wants to ask a question, you can raise your hand and we'll have mics walking around, and I'll just keep going here in the meantime. But one thing that I wanted to ask you guys is, you know, if you're trying to integrate some home performance aspects into your business, or just trying to think about the whole home more, how do you get your techs to do that in the field? You know, what do you have them do without just exploding their timeline and making them spend a bunch more time like doing a bunch of stuff that they don't have time for?
So for me, I set up metrics for those guys. When they get there, I want to see the readings. The insulation stake, I want to see a picture on every house.
All right, so just a picture.
Picture of the ductwork. How many techs don't go in attics? Well, the furnace is up there, my air handler's up there. For us, most of you guys have basements, which we don't have in California. We got slab floors. But we go up in the attic, we take that. And yeah, it's 130, 140 degrees up there. And the guys don't like it, but they take those pictures, and that gets uploaded to our software. We use House Call Pro. So I can see that picture. And then you can set up spiffs for certain things, and you can set up competition. You know how many got the most attic pictures this week, stuff like that. But you also train them, because we send our guys to training all the time. I'm lucky I have PG&E in Southern California, Edison, in our area. I can send my guys to training. It doesn't cost me a nickel. So I just have to pay their time. And then anything the NCI comes in, we send a lot of guys that we can. And it's the training, and you need to set up some metrics in your shop on the stuff you want them to take care of and look at.
I keep it really, really simple. All my guys know, and girls, know that if a door shuts itself, it's either a ghost, the house is unlevel, or there's a pressure imbalance. And I don't believe in ghosts, and the house looked pretty level. So it's a pressure imbalance. So if the door is shutting itself, that's a problem. That creates a conversation. And if the customer is unaware that their door is shut by themselves, just look at the pathways as you're walking around the home. When I say pathways, any opening in the house, doors, windows, and ceiling fixtures. And if you see any type of patterning around it, any like fingers of dust and moisture or anything like that, that's a huge sign that this house is it's reaching out to you. They need some help. And so my people just look for that.
I'm about visualization, everything, making something where you can see it and relate to it. So when I have a lot of contractors that want to get into it, and they're trying to, everybody's like, how do I get my tech to be interested in this? It's like, well, we'll just force them. You know, that doesn't work. But go to their house. If they have a house, or even a rental house, and you can go in and just start doing some testing with them at their house. And first thing is just measuring humidity. It's a trigger for me when people are like, yeah, well, what's the best temperature? It's like, humidity. Let's start with humidity, and let's start looking at what's happening in the air. And then once you have numbers, you can show them, and they can just take some stuff home and start measuring and see what they have. Okay, here's what's happening with your house. Now that you have the numbers, here's what these mean. Relate it to them. Do you have allergy issues? Are you feeling tired? Or what's going on? And now they're starting to identify that, and they're connecting with it. And then, hey, let's do some basic testing. Let's look at your ductwork. Like, ductwork's a super easy place to start. There's multiple ways of looking at ductwork. Start just doing some testing and doing some simple stuff with them, and let them see it in their own house. See the difference. See how the air's better. See how they're feeling more comfortable. Once they're seeing what's happening in their own house, then they believe in it. Just like we've done this, and we see the results and we believe in it. Involve them in that education. Once they're seeing, hey, this really works. This filtration system is actually working, and I don't have the pressure drop. And now they're being excited about using these tools. Hey, let them use an old Magna Helix first, and then like, hey, there's a digital one here. And let them get excited about this stuff. Now they're excited about these solutions, and they're more likely to go to the customer like, hey, I have some solutions for you. That's just my 2 cents.
So I partnered with a few HVAC companies in my area, and basically I tell them, if your technician's in a house, and it's high humidity, just give me a call. See if the homeowner wants to have a consultation. Because Florida, high humidity is pretty dominant in my area. So, and then, hot rooms. Hot rooms are a big deal. Yeah. Usually or Alex Meany likes to say, central air. Keep it central, right? I got a lot of air handlers like all the way on one end of the house in the garage. And you got the primary bedroom is like all the way down the football field, So it's just getting to know your market. High humidity for me is what I try to tell a lot of the guys in my area. So if you're having those issues, just give me a call. It's like, try to ask questions to the homeowner. A lot of technicians, they're so busy, they want to get in and out. But if there's a hot bedroom, just write it on a ticket. Call somebody,
Yeah.
I don't run a contracting company, but I work with a lot of contractors. And I think one of the keys is, like Ty was saying, is just getting the guys involved. I've seen guys do things like have morning meetings and say, tell me about one problem you couldn't solve in the last week. And then they talk about it and they figure out, the home performance aspect of that and how that could have been solved using some different methodology that they weren't aware of. I think it's really important to keep it to things that they can relate to. Like Ty said, their home, or jobs that they've done, or air conditioning concepts that they're already familiar with. They go hand in hand, because you guys got to remember, building science, as we're talking about, is air conditioning. It's the same exact thing. Like, all the principles that apply in air conditioning apply in building science, and vice versa. It's all just scientific principles that tell us how shit works in houses. That's it. That's all it is at the end of the day, and it's all the same exact thing. So if we can make it relatable to the person that's trying to learn it, they're going to learn the rest of it on their own. They're going to want to do it out in the house. They're going to start figuring it out for themselves. If we can just make it fun and relatable for them and give it to them in small bits. Don't fire hose them. Don't dump a bucket of home performance on them the first day that they're in the shop and then tell them to go out and save the world, because that's never going to work.
And get to know somebody in your area that does this stuff. Because if you have a contracting business, you just do HVAC, that's fine. Find one of these gentlemen. They can pull you out of a lawsuit, because the house is not your deal. You do HVAC, but like, the box is not your problem. We could find the answers. Like, I had one HVAC company, they were ripping out ductwork, right? Completely saturated. And he's like, I think you need to do a blower door. So I get out there, and it's basically, the whole floor joist is connected to outside. It's just basically a second-story floor, just connected right to the soffits.
Giant fresh air system.
What's that?
Giant fresh air system.
It's, big fresh air system. Yeah. But I told him, I was like, you saved yourself by having the homeowner call, try to find, she found me, And, I don't care what type of ductwork you put in there, it was going to sweat. So, not true.
R14 closed cell.
R14 closed cell, Jason Julian.
No, I love what you guys are saying, though. It's not about, turning every house you walk into a science project. All we have to do is.
It really is.
It can be,
Yeah.
for sure, but really it's, we just gotta, pull our head out of the control panel for a second and take a step back and think about, like, what are we actually trying to do here? What are we trying to accomplish? And, like, what's going on around me? And it's looking, and, I heard all you guys say, it's looking around, it's feeling what you're feeling in the air, it's looking at stuff, it's taking a couple pictures, maybe making a measurement with a psychrometer, for some humidity readings in the house. So it starts like that. I think we have a couple questions back here, so I'm gonna.
Hey, good morning, guys. John Whitehead, Honest Heating and Cooling. So I've been looking to get into home performance for a while here, and been real fortunate to have an awesome coach. Silas Hepner has been walking with me, and thanks to Anthony McCook, I actually just scored a blower door yesterday. And so I'm pretty excited to go home, and I know talking to Silas, I'm going to have to remain calm and make sure I take my medicine. And from each of you, I'd just like one point that you would not want to go unsaid, me to you, knowing each of you. One piece that you wouldn't want me to leave here not hearing from you, knowing who I am and that I got a blower door yesterday.
Well, first off, John, congratulations. Embrace everything that it can show you, but it's just a tool. So don't get laser focused on it. It's a great tool. It's going to show you a lot of things. You're going to want to test everything. Stop it. Don't. Focus on the goal. What is the mission? Satisfy that, and then educate yourself underneath each one of those missions, and pull a little bit in each time. But I know you and I, addictive personalities, will take a dive and not come out of it. So just small steps, focus on what you're there to solve, leave the rest of it for another mission.
So for you, I would, you combine that with a load count, a blower door makes way more sense. You put a FLIR camera with it, and you can see where it's coming in. And it's very visual with the customer, because just doing the blower door is just going to give you a data point. What you really want to do is show where that's, like I tell customers, it's not one leak, it's all the leaks, death by 1,000 cuts. Go around and show the customer where it's leaking. Are there can lights leaking? Is it leaking around the registers? Is it leaking around the switch plug covers, the light covers? And it's very easy to show that. With a FLIR camera, you can visualize that and take pictures with it, and then I create a report and give it to the customer. But those things all combined, a blower door is, like he says, is a tool, and we need to use that tool. Okay, it's a hammer. Sometimes you need a nail, and we've got to put the two together to make it work in combination. If we take that tool and use it constantly, and you get used to it, you'll find that it does have a lot more uses than just giving you a data point. And I always test out, so test out once you've done all your repairs.
Having met you yesterday and we had some conversations, I understand your market, so I would say do no harm. Learn the safe way to run a blower door in a combustion market, because it's not the same as all electric houses or places where you don't see a lot of combustion and gas heating. It's a much different thing, and you want to make sure that you're keeping the customer safe first and foremost.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's huge, yeah. Keeping the client safe. Oh, no?
Yeah,
In my market, everything's electric, so.
Did they pay before we did the testing?
So,
But yeah, staying focused, like, I agree with these guys. It's just one of the tools in the truck, and it's an exciting time right now to own a blower door, because you could put that into ampli or conduit, and you could basically get volume. You could scan a whole entire house, now you got your ACH number, right? And we tell a lot of guys, I like CFM 50. It's just raw data, right? So, and then stay connected with a group. You know, the group's huge. Like, great guys, girls, right? We have a great community. So doing this on your own is really difficult. But when you have a community, you can reach out to one of these fine gentlemen. It's a world of difference. So community's big for me.
so pop back to safety, because I teach tools for PG&E. And the first thing I do when I go in a house, I'm going to do a blower door, is I take my keys out of my pocket, and I set them on top of the water heater, and I turn it to pilot. And I do all the other gas appliances in the house, make sure they're off. And then people ask, well, why did you put your keys on there? I can't drive off without turning that water heater back on.
John, for you specifically, you're doing great, man. You inspire me, because I go across the entire country and I get to see all these big private equity people, and then they brag about how much money they have, and man, that's a turnoff. I zone out quickly. When I see what you're doing, and you're a technician like me, and you start out and you're curious and you're asking questions, that's awesome. I love that. I love it when you implemented MeasureQuick and all the formulas that had to do with the psychometric chart. Now MeasureQuick does that, and you've implemented that in your company. I love that you're using the TrueFlow grid. When I was there with you, you're like, hey, we're having this airflow problem, and you immediately had the guys deploy the TrueFlow grid, and you're getting those numbers. I love that so much. And then, hey, went over to the job, and you went there in person. You're up there in the ladders with everybody, with your team. It's not like you're the boss barking orders. You're with everybody working to solve problems. And your team is amazing. It's not just like the employees. You have a team of people. It's amazing. So many people would kill to have that opportunity. And they're doing all the things I'm thinking. They'd either already done it or in the process of doing it. And that is pure magic. You cannot train. You cannot teach for that. You have that in your company, and that is incredible. I would like more people to see your path and your excitement and your joy for doing this, and how thankful you are. You're always thinking somebody else. And some days I have, social media can be brutal, and I've had some really bad days, and I'll get a message from you out of the blue, and it means a lot to me. So I love it when people just want to learn and do better. Don't let it overwhelm you, because I still get overwhelmed. Sometimes I'm talking to Dustin about something, I'm like, hey, I need you to break this down on another level. And he's like, okay, think of a kid with fingerprints across there. And he helps me. But make sure that you just don't get overwhelmed with it. But what you're doing is awesome. I mean, keep it up. Keep on that path. Don't let it get overwhelmed. Take a break sometimes, but I love what you're doing.
So let me ask you guys a question. Who out there remembers taking wet bulbs and converting it to enthalpy? These tools are great, man. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, you get wet bulb, enthalpy, RH, dew point, all the stuff right there. Everything off the chart. Yeah. Do we have any other questions out there that I'm missing? All right.
Don't be shy.
All right.
Dustin won't bite.
I'll bite.
Yeah, maybe you will.
I will.
But yeah, it's an exciting time to be in the industry. Like, everything is so connected, Bluetooth, the psychrometers.
Yeah.
I could deploy like 8 psychrometers and get, throw Comfort Max. I mean, I was taking the class on Comfort Max, and they were like, oh, there was about 50 data entries manual, and it like all integrates with MeasureQuick, and I mean, it's a wild time to be in this trade. I wish I was in the 20s right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, the tools right now are awesome. I got a question for you guys though. What's the most underrated tool in your kit?
Underrated?
Underrated tool. The most underrated.
Your hand, your hand, your hand, and my bald head. My bald head is the single most underrated tool in my kit. No, I swear, I've discovered more air leaks with my bald head than a blower door than anything. And like, literally, I can be in a house and somebody's telling me how uncomfortable it is, and I'm standing there, and then all of a sudden something's hitting me, whack, whack, whack. I'm like, yeah, there's your problem. Most underrated tool right
The
here. my bald head.
headometer, people, all right?
My manometer,
For sale on True Tech Tools.
yeah.
Eric, make it happen. Bald head.
Use your head in building science, all right? That's your takeaway tonight.
So your most underrated tool, though, is none of these tools exist if it wasn't for a manometer. You can't do a blower door. You can't do a duct leakage test. You can't do pressure tests.
Can't do
A static pressure.
can't do a true flow.
Can't do a true flow. So is it the most underrated? It's the most used tool in your arsenal, but it's also the most underrated because you don't realize that you use it that much and how much information you can gain from just a manometer.
Guys, I travel with a DG8, an infrared camera, and a pencil. Seriously, I keep those three things in my bag because at all times, because they're with those three things, you can pretty much discover anything that you need to discover in a house and know what to do next, and know if you need to go deeper.
I would add one small tool to that travel kit. Just one psychrometer.
There you go.
Right.
Or two.
I do. I have a JB psychrometer as well, so there you go.
Yeah, I agree.
knew
The
it.
manometer that reads pascals is really useful.
So in my truck, I have a DG8, I have a DG1000, and I have a DG700. Because I have my duct leakage kit, it has the DG700. But I have a DG1000, my blower door for that one, and I have the DG8 for my true flow grid. And those stay in my truck, they never leave. I carry those. I carry my psychometric probes with me. My refrigeration stuff doesn't get used that much because I don't need that. If I determine that unit's making the BTUs it's supposed to and I'm delivering the airflow I'm supposed to, I don't need to put my gauges on that unit. There's no reason to. But I carry all those tools on my truck. Some of my guys have a lot of those tools. All my install crews have duct blasters on their truck so they can test out the system when they're done. So we need to see if we do some more, because I have to have a HERS test behind us. Another company comes by and verifies that what we did was actually a good job. And so we do sampling groups, but all those tools, you keep those in your arsenal. And one more thing I want to say about the techs. Anytime a tech gets another certification, I give them $1 raise. So I foster them to get the education to do it.
For anybody who's on the fence and are thinking, oh my, that all sounds really good, but that's expensive. You already have the tools. You don't have to go on a blower door. You don't have to go buy a duct tester. You should, but you don't have to, not right now. You already have the tools. Most of you have psychrometers. If anybody doesn't, you're a hack. All right, I'll just say it. All right, so, but the thing is you have the tools. And so you might not have a precision manometer, so no, you don't have the exact answer, but you have the tools to know that there's a problem. And so you can begin, and you can begin down that journey of solving those problems just by doing things like delta enthalpy change, and determining how things are occurring in different areas. You're gonna be able to start reading a room much better. You're gonna feel the pressure boundaries. You know what a wet hand will show you? Where the air is at. You don't need a precise tool to know that that's a problem, the bald head. Stop at the gas station, buy a vape pen, blow smoke on something.
That's
it
awesome.
works.
I love that.
Yeah, it works.
thought that way
Like you can, like there's all kinds of ways for you to figure it out, and just ask your helper for one. It doesn't matter. But there's all kinds of. You already have what you need to get started, and you're going to get pushback from the people that went straight into that industry because they have all the certifications and all that. Bless those people, because it doesn't matter. You have an understanding of how heat transfers, of how air moves. Most of them do not. So you're a leg up already. Get in it. Don't be scared. Use the tools you have. Solve the problems. They're not all crazy homeowners.
So it's just about not having tunnel vision, being able to take a step
It's
back.
macro view, go micro. You've got a problem here. Take a step back. There's a problem. They're not crazy. That's an uncomfortable room. You can solve that.
Looks like we got another question from the back there.
Is this on? I just had a comment on the same track, same line of thinking. So without using any diagnostic tools, you can cut some time for your techs before they ever get to the house just by asking the homeowner different questions about the house type. What the age of the house is, what the style of the house is, what the foundation type of the house is, what type of heating cooling system you have. And if you understand how different houses were framed in different periods of time, and you're gonna know in advance like the common stuff that you're gonna find before you even get there. And you're already gonna get the address for the house, right? Google the house address and go on Zillow or Realtor.com. And if the house has been sold anytime recently, you're gonna see all the interior pictures of the house. So you can confirm, oh my God, they've got 50 recessed lights in the house, or they've got multiple fireplaces with chases that are open to the attic, or they've got whatever. You can see a lot of the stuff before you ever get to the house and kind of diagnose what the potential issues are and just expedite the process. So save yourself some time, save your tech some time, teach them how houses are framed and the common issues that you have in different house types over the years.
Yeah, that's really important. Like, I use Property Appraiser pretty often. It's like a quick... It's a Florida thing? Okay. Oh, it doesn't exist. Well,
But a lot of
lucky.
municipalities do have some form of property appraiser because they have to put a tax value on the houses, so that's where it comes from. So like any municipality auditor site, the trick is whether or not it's public or not. Like sometimes Kentucky's is all behind a paywall. You got to pay for any access to any of that stuff. So Zillow ends up working out better. But like for a lot of it, there is property appraiser around. Like a lot of
It's
municipalities
worth it.
have that right online.
because then you could find if they added a bonus room. I mean, I guess that's why they call me Detective Eric, because I mean, basically I build up a case before I go there, right? You could see, not everybody pulls permits, but if somebody pulled a permit for an addition, you could see that on the property appraiser site. And like Zillow, it's amazing. I'll go between both of them. So it's an invaluable tool.
Man, that's an awesome tip that I haven't even really thought of, doing as much research on this house before you even go there. If it's a problem child, try to figure out what's going on, get information from the homeowner, go look at as many pictures as
And
you can.
I'll print it out.
And
Yeah, it's in Mike's name, detective. Be a detective. That's what you need to do if you're trying to solve problems in a home, and that includes doing background research on the home and figuring out anything that you can figure out about it ahead of time, for sure.
that's awesome.
And one thing is, like Mitch was saying, the load calculations, man, it exposes every single thing in the house. Like it exposes every issue that you're ever gonna see. If you, with all the tools that we have right now, quick model, Russell's here, you can do a remote load calculation, conduit tech, Amply. These are all very simple tools that use advanced technology to let you to be able to do a quick load calculation. I've been telling people, if like Eric was saying a little bit, if your CSRs aren't getting information ahead of time, and on one of the maintenance calls that you guys do twice a year saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner, our tech is going to take a little more time in your home. He's going to look at some things he doesn't normally look at, and use conduit tech or one of these technologies to get a load calculation on file in your organization for every one of your maintenance contract people. You're just getting in front of every problem that you could ever have that is related to the house and the way that it exerts it on the system. And when you do stuff like use measure quick, like a lot of you guys are already doing, and benchmarking the systems and understanding where they're at in the life cycle of the system, and comparing that to how it's operating in a house, you have a whole new picture of the house that you guys never had before that lives into perpetuity because of the digital record keeping. So you can always understand what's going on when you send your tech out to that house. It's like, Miss Susie homeowner's calling in with this problem. Hey, look, we have this stuff on file already. It's probably this room where she doesn't have a lot of insulation that we found out about while we were doing the load calculation. You know how powerful it is to know that stuff before you ever get out there? It's crazy, man, what you guys can do in today's world.
So the most underrated tool, personal CO monitor. It ticks me off that we still have people dying from carbon monoxide poisoning, people getting sick from carbon monoxide poisoning. It shouldn't happen at all. We talk about the house, the air, and everything. We got to make sure our own technicians, all of us, are prepared. Having this on, even if you have a house that's all electric, is the garage attached? You'd be surprised at how many times this has gone off to say, hey, there's an issue. Even in the daughter-in-law's house, issues of being arised from a low-level CO monitor. So we're talking about having indoor air quality in the house and all. It starts with us wearing some of this, something as simple as this right here. I don't care what brand you use, get one and wear it so that you know what's happening. We can't tell the customer we're worried about your health and we don't even worry about our own health. Low-level CO monitoring, it's huge. Learn the difference between a high-level monitor and a low-level monitor, but these personal monitors are a big deal, and it upsets me so much that we still have people getting sick every year and dying from that needlessly. It shouldn't happen at all. Most underrated tool ever.
That's a great point.
absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, that is whole home thinking too. You know, so often it's not the HVAC that's causing a CO issue, but just by us being aware of that and wearing one of those.
I had one house where I was doing a static pressure test on an air handler, and the homeowner said something about their kitchen exhaust, right? So I had the DGA it out. I was like, hey, you mind if I run a tube outside the sliding glass door and just throw that hood back on? We almost got up to 50 pascals with his kitchen hood, right? So it's unreal. It's like, why is this happening? You know, and if he had a gas water heater, thank God he didn't, he would have just backdraft everything through the flue. Fireplace, so just soot would have came down. But it blows my mind.
Multifamily is the same thing. You got to check multifamily when you're doing it. You got to go turn the neighbors on. And that was actually a requirement for one of the PG&E programs. We had to, if it was a condominium and they were attached dwellings, we had to turn the neighbors on. We had to have access to the neighbors so we could turn their systems on to see what happened to the neighbor's house.
Huh.
You guys know, let me see that for a minute. You guys know that low-level carbon monoxide poisoning has the same symptoms as allergies and stomach viruses and stuff like that. Like, there's been studies done where kids, for one thing, carbon monoxide in children is way different than carbon monoxide in adults. Carbon monoxide for children affects children at a very young age, and it can affect their brain development and all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't take much to do it. So if it's leaking out into the house and they don't know it at low levels and they think they got a cold or they think they got a stomach ache and it's really a CO problem that's been undiscovered and their kids are living there day in and day out, there's been studies done to prove it affects how they perform in school, how their brain develops, all kinds of different stuff. So it's like a very, very important topic, even beyond death. Just like at those low levels, it can cause other problems that can go undiscovered for a long time.
Brian Orr had a good article on it. It was the lady that in the 1800s, you familiar with that one? With the ghost story, yeah. Even though Dustin doesn't believe in him.
I said what I said.
It was carbon monoxide, yeah.
So my neighbor was a PG&E supervisor for years, and he was the guy that went out to investigate when there was a death that involved PG&E electricity or gas. And so he would go on when there was a CO poisoning. And there was a Hispanic couple in Patterson that their whole family was sick, went down to the doc, and they said, they did blood tests, said, no, you got CO poisoning. So he went in there, he was testing like crazy. He tested the water heater, he tested the stove, he tested the furnace, could not find anything wrong, was just about ready, scratching his head, goes, man, I don't know what's going on here. So he's about ready to leave, and they were going to make lunch. So the lady took the grates off the stove, put a big metal plate out there and started cooking tortillas on it, and they changed the height of that, and immediately it went to like 500 in the house.
Oh, wow.
Solve that problem. So be aware that you might think that's what he did. That if there was a death, he's the one who investigated it. And he would come to our shop once a year and teach a class for our guys on safety and CO. And he would come up with some of the weirdest stuff, and that was one of those things. You would never have thought of that.
Yeah.
Unless he
I see
had been
videos
there.
all the time, people doing that,
Unless
yeah.
he'd been there.
Yep.
John, did you have another question in the back there, it looks like?
Yeah, Eric, thanks for bringing it to the front of the table here for the discussion. What would each of you say is the most commonly uncovered clue that you find in your markets the majority of the time?
Oversized by a ton.
I'm sorry, as far as your blower door?
As far as blower door goes, in my market, I would say the blower door is usually uncovering a lot of like carpet area. I've got that transition where bottom plate. Yeah, exactly. Yep, it's pretty big because it's such a linear. It goes around most of the house. So, you know, and then in my market, they're starting to foam electrical going up to the top plate, and I've seen that really help in the newer houses. Is you know, the electrical going through the top plate. So it's been pretty big.
So for me on a blower door, what I find is that you don't know till you do the test. I've gone in houses that I thought was going to leak like a sieve, and I turned that blower door on, and I'm like, gosh, you got like 2 air changes per hour in this house. And it's crazy. And I've gone in houses that should be tight that were built very recently, and I've got like 10 air changes per hour, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? And then it becomes a you know, Sherlock Holmes in that thing. I got to go through and find out what's going on. So just doing the test is going to show you a lot. You got to do a blower door because it is such a key feature on the energy and what's happening in the house. And again, you could have reverse airflow in a house. You got interstitial communication. All that stuff's going to cause problems. And it may not show up most of the time, but on extremes, cold and hot days, that's when we get that thermal stratification, we get that draft through the house, and people find out they have a problem.
I'm of a different camp. Blower doors are fantastic. The best tool that you have is a duct tester. If I had to run one test on a house, it would be a duct test over a blower door. Because the unit's going to have a larger driving force on the pressure boundary than anything else in the house. Consistent, always. And so it is the largest contributor to leakage. And I don't care about all of the linear holes in the house. All boats have a hole, but yet they still float. Let's focus on the ones that matter. But if I was going to tell you in my market, which I'm not familiar with yours enough, it's going to be your, you know, top plate, bottom plate. That's your largest percentages. Tell everybody pull the baseboards off, silicone, and put them back down. Don't overthink it.
I'll tell you where I'm using my blower door most right now. It's HVAC contractors that call me with moisture problems they can't solve. And it's because they don't understand that it's not being caused by the air conditioning. It's being caused by air that's coming in from somewhere that they can't see or they can't find. And it's hitting the ductwork, and we're having what we all know to be dew point, and then it's raining in the house and the soffit and stuff like that. So like over the past 3 months, I've deployed my blower door probably 10 times to help HVAC contractors not get blamed for problems that they shouldn't be blamed for.
All right. I'm curious about, you know, so we talked about just having a whole home mindset is important and trying to instill that in your techs. At what point do you switch from, oh, this testing is included, to I'm going to charge you to come in and do some testing?
Oh,
How do you make that
that's
switch?
a good question.
How do you make it? How do you make the switch?
Well, I mean, on our show, we've interviewed everybody like that. We've got one guy, Brian Cooksey. Mm-hmm. He goes out to a service call, or one of his technicians goes out to a service call. It's all included, blower door, load calculation included. And then you got some guys that, like, I haven't adopted that. So, I mean, it's just depends on who you are as a contractor, you know. Just find that sweet spot. I like to say get paid for what you do, but, You know, I mean, sky's the limit. This guy's out there doing a wide array of stuff, so.
I give everything away for free, and I work for a not-for-profit, so how to make money on this is, I'm not the
Yeah,
guy.
don't ask Ty. He'll just make a video out of it.
No, all right, so you know how to merge onto a highway? Most people, maybe. Anyways, so yeah, if you're getting called out there for an HVAC issue, then don't turn it into a building science project.
Yeah.
If you're getting called for an HVAC issue that doesn't have an explanation, or that others have not been able to solve for those people, then it's likely that this is a building science project. And so you enter those completely different. You're not doing an $85 diagnostic like your competitor, Chuck, down the road. You're being called into a home to solve a problem. Get paid for solving the problems. We don't do this for free. Now, that being said, like Ty, I give away as much as I possibly can. But, because I just want to see everybody just really kick ass. Excuse me. But, you know, know what you're being called in for whenever you cross the line and you become consultant or you bring tools out, then you need to put that hat on and you need to start charging accordingly for it.
Yeah, it's a difficult question.
So prior to that, well, we don't be hating, but we got a program where they pay me to do all this testing. I get $700 to do it. And then I give a quote to the customer. But before that, we would dial that into our price. So I would tell them what we would do. Now, we also did energy audits. So a customer wanted an energy audit, and we would come in and do an energy audit, which was all the testing, and we charged the customer. We did tell them that, hey, we'd apply this to anything that we did, so that would be recoup it. But like I say, if you want to make it a charge, then call it something. Like, let's do an energy audit. We're going to do a blower door, do a duct leakage test, do an airflow test. We'll do a load calculation. And the customer then, you look at their electrical bills, look at their gas bills, and you can plug that all together and put out a report to them that they can use to solve problems in their house.
I think the big thing is always understanding where the value is for the customer. Then you're going to know what you can charge for it. Like some of these guys are saying, if you're getting called out there because their air conditioner is not working, that's not a home performance problem. That's an air conditioning problem that needs to be fixed with air conditioning techniques that you know and love. If you're getting called out for a comfort problem, that's a building science problem. You might not know what the answer is to that problem. If you're getting called out for a health and safety problem, that's probably a building science problem. You're not going to know what the answer is to that unless you look at the whole picture. And the same thing for high energy bills. That's a building science problem. But there are problems that are air conditioning problems. Now, when we get into the financial model of it, that is going to be very dependent on the way you guys do business. Like, you are going to have to figure that piece out for yourself. Where is the value for the customer, and where does it fit into how you make money in your business? Those are very specific to your particular shop and the way that you guys do business. So the best answer to this equation, and this is something we get asked all the time, especially by owners. Like, owners want to know, like, where am I going to make money on this? Like, in my own personal experience, like my own story, I had a home performance company that was bought by an HVAC company because they thought they wanted to do home performance. That's a very important piece of the statement. They thought they wanted to do home performance, because once we got into what it actually is to do home performance from the inside out, that's a way different business model than understanding what's going on when your customers, when they need it. Doing home performance from the inside out is a change, is a change in the entire way that you do business. It starts up front with your customer service representatives understanding building science, because they have to be able to recognize when somebody's calling in what that question actually is. And then it's going to get routed to your home performance department. And that all costs a lot of money to structure your company that way. So you better be damn sure that you're good with the profit margin, because it's different. It's not a box flipping profit margin. Like, it's profit on labor, guys crawling around in attics, sealing holes, doing stuff that nobody else wants to do. That is a way different margin than a margin that you're going to get from selling a box. So as long as you go in understanding that, then you're going to understand how to structure it in your business. But if you go in blind and you're like, we're going to flip over to home performance is a thing we do now, and you don't understand anything about the business side of it, you already failed yourself. So that's a you problem, understanding the financials of your company and how this stuff fits in. We can help you with that, because we can help you understand the time it takes to do stuff and what it's going to take to get these guys out in the field and solve that problem. But as far as how you make money off of it, that's something that you guys have to really dig in and understand. And to do that, this is what we discover a lot of times when we go down this road with people. You guys don't know how you make money in the first place. Like, you really don't understand where your dollars are coming from and how they're applied to your labor and things like that. And those are all things that you have to get a grip on before you ever think about putting home performance in as a business model, because you're going to hate it. You're going to say, I'm not making no money on this. All our money comes from over there. And it's really not as black and white as that may appear.
Jeremy,
I was doing training
awesome.
for a company about a month ago, really awesome, good company. And the guy said, just whatever you do, just don't talk about home performance or building science. I know you love that stuff, but we're just an AC company. I said, yeah, not a problem at all. So we just went off the cuff, and like the fourth question is like, hey, we're having humidity issues. How do we solve that? I'm like, sorry, we're going into building science. But after the end of it, he was like, okay, so we do need to do more testing because it is a whole house system. But yeah.
So I've been a general contractor since 1985. I've built 32 homes over the years and a couple of office buildings. And if you don't understand the buildings phase of it too, because you need that as a basis for you to understand how things are put together. Earlier, a person said that if you know how these houses are framed, you know where there's going to be problems at. And so knowing the construction of the homes, it's not just the building science, it's knowing how the house was built. So that's something that you need to invest a little bit of time in.
Yeah, you guys are cooling a space that you have no idea what it is until you test, right? So you could have a house, and we said it earlier, a 1985 house, stick frame house, it's tight as a drum. And you could have a brand new house it's Swiss cheese. You just don't know. And it goes back to my idea of the cooler. It's like you're cooling a space that you have no idea about. You don't have a manual J, you don't have a leakage. It's just, it blows my mind. Once you figure it out, you can't turn away from it. It's there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna call you in the middle of the night.
All right, well, we're going to do one more question unless there's anybody out there that wants to ask one. But I've heard all you guys mention, some different goals of thinking about the whole house. I've heard comfort, efficiency, safety, and health. And I just want a real short answer from everybody about which one sells the most jobs. Comfort, efficiency, safety, or health?
It's always comfort. Comfort is king. I teach a little class for kids in a college, and it's called Conservation and Cleanup, and I do a little home energy track. And one thing that I do a little survey, because in America, we care about comfort. That is the thing that sells everything. Like, comfort is king in America. And here's how I know. I'll say, and all the kids will be, and they're all different political backgrounds and beliefs and stuff like that. And I'll say, no, really, listen. If you guys, the water heater broke, like right now, in the middle of the winter, they're in a colder state, in the middle of the winter, and you had to take a cold shower, are you going to accept that, or are you going to call somebody right now? Raise your hand if you're going to take a cold shower in the morning. No hands go up. I'm saying, okay, keep that in mind. Now, next, if it's the middle of the summer and it's 100 degrees outside and your air conditioning goes out and you pick up the phone and you call an air conditioner contractor and they say, well, we're slammed, we can't get out there till next week. Are you gonna say, cool, man, I'll wait till next week? Or do you hang the phone up and call the next guy on your list and try to get him out there? We all know what it is because you guys are all air conditioner contractors. You know in 100-degree weather, you can't keep enough people on the road to satisfy what's going on right now. So in America, comfort rules everything. That is why almost every other conversation has to come behind the comfort conversation, because if people aren't comfortable in their own homes, they're not going to be willing to listen to anything else that you have to say. So you have to be able to prove to them that what you're doing plays into the fact that they want to be comfortable. The other thing, he's talking about the utilities all the time. Look at any utility pie chart, and you're going to see that the two biggest users in the home is heating, cooling, and hot water. Those are your three biggest users at any given time in a home.
All right, Jeremy says.
Yeah, it's
comfort is
60% is your hot water, heating, cooling of any home energy use. For me, it's not comfort now because we live in some of the highest rates. We got people paying 57 cents a kilowatt. It's their bills. And we get that all the time. We got people that's deciding whether they run the air conditioner or don't run the air conditioner.
Wow, that's amazing. Man, that's something.
Where's that at?
So
That's PG&E, guys.
efficiency, health, and safety are all byproducts of comfort, period. So that phone call, it's all one. Like I look at it all as one. It doesn't matter. The call always leads back to the comfort because you can't be comfortable if you have a 57 cents. First off, but I mean that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, health and safety. You're not comfortable if it's unsafe in your house. You're not comfortable if you're sick in your house. You're not comfortable if you're sweating in your house. Comfort is not by definition, can be described because it's per individual. And so you need to take your blinders off to what you feel is comfort and find out what their comfort level is. And then whatever that is to make them comfortable, provide that for them. That's a moving target. That's what I got.
I like that.
Doc comfort.
Well, I 100% agree with everything about the comfort side, but I just want to add to it, comfort with you, the people that's in their house. How many strangers do you invite into your house regularly or at all per year? So when you invite somebody, you're a technician going into their house, maybe the 5th or 6th call, but for them, you're a stranger that's coming into their house. So they need to feel comfortable with you, with that you're not going to rob them, obviously, but that that you're the professional. They know they're going to have to pay you a lot of money. They want to know that you're not going to take advantage of them, that they can trust you, that you feel comfortable with them. So all those things that we do about fixing the house, let them know, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to solve your problem. And sometimes we forget about that, and especially in the summer, it's already the 8th call, and we're tired, and it's like, okay, what's going on? It's like, hey, that's the first time they've seen you today. So make sure you build that comfort with them up front. Be honest with them up front, and then, hey, here's what we're going to go through and do these things to help solve your problem. Is that okay with you? I always ask for permission. Hey, can we look at something else? Can we look at your water heater? Is that okay with you? Yes. Now you have their permission. Not as a sales side of just making sure I'm comfortable with them. And then also I try to involve them with the process as much as possible. Some people, they don't want to hear it at all, but I'm like showing them stuff, and now they're seeing what we're doing, so it's also building comfort. And now they're also not just seeing that you were there, oh, they were just here for 15 minutes, like they actually see that you're involved with it. And even if it was a 15-minute quick call just for air conditioning, now you've involved them with it, you've bugged them and showing them all these things, like, yeah, just do this, thank you. And it's different between the private equity company that's just an AI marketing thing. It's you, it's your technicians. All of that is part of your comfort, knowing that they have a trained professional coming to their house to solve the problems. Because I was kicked out of customers' houses before, and some of my sales, because I would say, is price your main concern? And they would say, yeah, price, we're looking for the best price. I'm like, okay, well, we can do this about $1,500. Wow, that is so much cheaper than everybody else. How are you going to do that? Well, we're going to put a 500 BTU window unit in this room, and we're going to put a 1,600 BTU in that one, and they would get out of my house. Okay, if you're looking for price, I'm not the guy anyways, but I've had several of those customers call me back later and be like, hey, I want to see the rest of your pitch, because it offended them, got them mad, but then they were thinking, well, price obviously wasn't the big choice, and it was comfort, sound, and comfort in the people. So yeah, the people, it's you guys making the difference out there.
I love that spin. Mike, what do you think? What about in your market?
Yeah, comfort, yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's tough to explain that to your customer when they don't know what it feels like, right? So I had one house where we did an inverter system, and we did air sealing, we did duct leakage testing, we did it all, and they went over there for a party, and they go, we need a new AC, but I don't know, whatever you do over there, we want that. And it was like a light bulb moment. I was like, yeah, we could do that, but yeah, it's like hard for people to understand.
Yeah.
But I got one more. There was a customer that we did this last year, and it did it in the fall, and it rolls around. It was May. It was going to be 105. I get a text from him at 6:30 in the afternoon, and he says, "Thank you for such a good job. My unit didn't come on until 6:30, and it was 102 outside." Yeah. So home performance isn't just about the air conditioning. And anybody tells you anything different, now his house is sealed tight and he's well insulated, and his unit didn't even come on till 6:30.
That's awesome. All right, let's give these guys a hand. We'll wrap it up here.
Take a strong hand.
It's about 10:04. I think we got a couple-minute break, and then the next session start.
One more thing, guys. One more thing before you guys leave. One of my pet peeves, if you guys are doing heat pumps, don't blow air on the customer.
Ed is very happy now.